break and come back. Of course, we catch up with Wayne Dawkins. The Lakers are leading 3-1. Of course, the Celtics have killed off the
Man, I was hoping the
Toronto Raptors,
was
sorry,
going to win that one.
And the NBA playoffs are getting quite interesting indeed.
Yeah.
But we'll talk to Wayne about that and some other stuff, very important stuff, right after this break.
Upgrade your home with the most exquisite fixtures for your bathroom and kitchen at Unique Living. With hands-free rain shower systems, faucets, and sinks, plus toilets and accessories from top-quality brands, your home will feel renewed. Level up with Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Unique Living, where quality meets your expectation. Visit their website at uniquelivingja.com, their showroom at shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, or call 876-618-3639.
Whether it's your baby's first onesie or an outfit for that special event, we know you want your kids to look their best. Kids Cradle is your best source for premium children's clothing and accessory brands. We stock The Gap, Old Navy, H&M, Children's Place, and much more. Visit our boutique on New Cross Street in Kingston, across from the Fletcher's Land Police Station. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Kids Cradle or call us at 876-492-9126. Kids Cradle, a big store for your little one.
It's back to school with COVID-19. Protect your young ones with Max Hand Sanitizing Gel, rubbing alcohol, and of course, worm them out with a single dose of Albentel. All available at your local pharmacy. Max Pharmaceuticals and Cosmetics 05 Limited, located at 59 East Street, Old Harbour, St. Catherine. For information on their back-to-school promotion and other great offers, call 876-983-6466 or email maxsales@cwjamaica.com.
There are different ways in which we learn. At eLearning Jamaica, we are committed to promoting the integration and infusion of technology in the education system. Our Tablets for Teachers program is distributing 25,000 tablets to teachers across the island and making 40,000 tablets available to students through our Technology in Infant and Primary Schools program. We are proud to be serving our nation. eLearning Jamaica, an agency of the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology. E-access to learning for all.
Okay, welcome back to Sports Nation Live. As we promised last week, we have a basketball coach, Wayne Dawkins, back with us. We're going to talk a little bit about NFL playoff. I keep saying NFL, NBA playoffs. But before we get into that, we're going to talk.
That's why we need to have more basketball.
Yeah, we're going to eventually get to that. We will. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the NBA has been.
Yeah, the
had it
bubble,
not
the
been
bubble.
for the bubble and of course COVID, that would be a lot more discussion.
Blowing up right now.
Right now, because as you Wayne, welcome back. As we spoke about last week, and you guys were so correct about that, Lakers have made adjustments. They're now leading Houston by three games to one, and could close out tonight. Unfortunately, however, the defending champions, the Toronto Raptors, are outbeaten by the Boston Celtics. Let's start there, Wayne. Are you surprised that the Celtics were able to rally and then, bounce Toronto?
Just so you know, I mean, even though the Raptors lost, I did say that the Raptors would be able to grind it out into 7 against a Boston team that is the better team.
Yeah.
They are the better team, but the Raptors did exactly that. A couple decisions, late game decisions to go isolation and a couple big plays, but that could have easily gone in the Raptors' favor.
But when
that does say a lot about it.
But when it seemed like turnovers was a catalyst for why they lost last night, why the Toronto Raptors lost last night, and there's a lot of costs turnovers. I believe they had 17 turnovers for the game.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but you're looking at a team that's trying to find a way to replace Kawhi, that guy that can step up. Pascal Siakam. He had a rough series.
Yeah.
But, he was supposed to be that guy that was able to make those big plays, and they really relied heavily on him. And it's just they're not there yet. They haven't found that guy yet that can take them over that that hurdle right there.
Like you said, I mean, Pascal. I mean, that was he got that big contract.
Because he played
last
last,
season,
he was great
he
in
was
the playoffs last
he
year.
was an all-star.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was looking for him to make that big step. Come this year, he averaged like over 20 points this season, and then everybody was expecting him to do big things in the playoffs. But like how it is. I mean, the playoffs is where everybody makes their name, and it just looks like Siakam just wasn't able to get over the hometown to show that to move to that that superstar level right there.
And there's a learning curve to that. It's not automatic. And I think for him, he needed to go through this rough this rough series to be able to understand, okay, this is what I got to do to be a superstar. And I think when you got Kawhi beside you, it's he didn't have to make that jump. That pressure wasn't the same. But now when it's just him, it got real quick. Mm-hmm. But I think he's going to bounce back, and what he learned from this year, we're going to see next year a different Pascal.
Yeah, definitely. Because it does seem like he lost a lot of confidence, and it's shown on the court. I mean, he was like 5 for 11, I believe. I mean, missed a lot of shots, especially at the end. What's up with what Van Vliet taking that last shot? I
think it's the same issue. I think he's looking at Siakam, and Siakam wasn't showing that he could make big plays at the right time. And I would have loved to see them run some more stuff and get the ball in Lowry's hand. But I think Van Vliet saw an opportunity for him to step up. And but I don't think.
Yeah, but Van Vliet taking more shots than Siakam. I mean, come on, no. I mean, if Siakam's supposed to be a go-to guy, I mean, you can't have Van Vliet taking 20 shots and Siakam only taking 11 or 12, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, but you know how that goes already. When you're looking at one of your teammates and they're struggling, they're not having they're not having the greatest series. You might feel like, okay, well, what, maybe I may be the one to step up because he's not seeing Siakam's not showing that. Hey, you know what? I got this, guys. I got you guys, but
We still have to give the Boston Celtics a lot of credit, though. I mean, the defense definitely showed up. They definitely had a better team. Walker, I mean,
he didn't have a good.
No, he didn't.
No.
It was 5 for 16, 1 for 7 from the 3-point. I was expecting a lot more than him, but I guess for me, the MVP of that series would have to be Marcus Smart. What do you think?
Yeah, and the reason why, even though Tatum and Brown proved that they are bona fide superstars, but the thing about it is no one expected what Marcus Smart gave Boston.
Yeah, you definitely know he's going to give you something on defense, but the offense.
Yeah, you knew the defense. Yeah, the toughness was going to be the defense, but man, when he's starting to hit threes and getting those and-ones, it's like, it's like you put that beside Tatum and Brown, and it's a problem. It's a problem.
So Miami finished off Milwaukee. No surprise there. Mm-hmm. But did anybody see Miami being, getting to the finals?
No, and that's the crazy thing about this bubble, because the bubble presents all these, I guess, variables or what the least you expect, because there's no traveling, there's no home court advantage. Guys have to. There's no true. Yeah, guys have to motivate.
Or the variance.
Yeah, guys have to motivate themselves, and I saw a lot of teams, and I'm not surprised by Miami going into the finals, because with this bubble, it's unpredictable, and I felt like Miami was one of those teams because of the grind, the fearlessness, how they play the game. Everything
Absolutely.
is predicated on defense. I saw them as a sleeper team where they had a chance of going.
Yeah,
because
But here's the thing, though.
Because the type of basketball they play.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
All of these teams are playing in the same environment.
Yeah.
Okay? Is Milwaukee not as mentally tough a team as people think they were?
I wouldn't say
I
that.
mean, Giannis was banged up a little bit, but they're not as deep as. I mean, Butler is a different type of leader.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're talking about a guy who getting in trouble for dribbling in a hotel, not bringing his family into the bubble. He's just like there's a fierceness about him, and then he's surrounded by a lot of good players. And we sleep on Tyler Harrell and Jojic and and Duncan. He got some really great players around him. And he even defers to them, nights when he'll get 13 or 15 points because he doesn't, and he's just going to focus on guarding the best defender because those guys are going to fill it up. So they are a really good team with a very different type of leader in Butler, who came into that bubble probably more focused than anybody.
Yeah.
So,
and not only that, I mean, if you watch how the Bucks, played, I mean, everything goes through Giannis, right? And if you watch how the defensive scheme was on Giannis when the Heat were playing, they basically just clogged up the hole at the top of the key and just forced him to take jump shots. And I mean,
we talked about that, right? The Raptors.
Yeah, if you play like that, it's going to be pretty predictable. I mean, because they're looking for him to be the creator, get
to the rim,
to be the facilitator, kicking out to the wings and the corner for that corner three. But the problem is that when he got hurt, now you're asking for Middleton, Bledsoe to now create off the dribble and create their own shots, and they're not that type of player. You know what I mean?
No, and they got exposed for that.
Exactly, and they got exposed. And so what I think is that they're definitely going to have to do some, wholesale changes this offseason. I don't know. Maybe they need to bring more shooters. Maybe bring a point guard. Well, I heard that, they're trying to get, Chris to come down there. That's one of the reports I heard. Chris Paul.
But they better, because why if you're Giannis, then why stay if they don't? I think they have. I don't think they have a choice. Because Giannis's game is, like you said, teams is becoming too predictable how to beat them. And if they come back with the same kind of team, then they're going to get the exact same kind of result.
Exactly. But Budenholzer, do you hold him accountable for this loss?
Sorry, who?
Budenholzer, the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started even before, because they just did not build their team for this series, for this type of series. It's to support Giannis the right way. So, even if the coach made some different decisions, they still really don't have the pieces around Giannis to go, to have gone deeper in this series and beyond. They really don't.
But after winning they had the best record back to back, and then again getting swept in the playoffs. I mean, for me personally, I'm going to put a lot of blame on the head coach. I mean, he's the one that is supposed to be motivating the team, getting them ready, preparation. To go there, especially going into this playoffs with the whole circumstances, with the whole COVID, playing a huge part. Where, like I said, it's no traveling, no home court, and going down 0-2 in the beginning. I mean, yes, Giannis got hurt, but at the same time, when Giannis, that's his way as a coach. Now you have to be more creative and just find new ways how to try and pull out a win.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but I think the teams that are going to be most successful have a LeBron, have a Butler, have someone that can that just they got that something special about them that even in those decisive situations where a coach could have could make a better call, or we could put it back on the coach to make a better decision, like what would have happened with the Raptors. But you imagine a Butler or a LeBron in that same situation with the Raptors or Kawhi. You know what? We wouldn't be getting upset at the coach for not calling a timeout, because those kind of players are kind of special players that would have found a way to make something happen.
Yeah.
So So I do agree with you, but at the same time, if Giannis is healthy and he's coming, with that, that type of full mentality of how he's going to take ownership of this team in all situations. Yeah, you know what? It might be a different story. We're having a different conversation.
All right, so let's move on quickly
All
because
right, yes.
we need more time to talk about the basic school thing. But let's jump to the Western Conference quickly. The Lakers leading 3-1. Do they close it out tonight? And if so, why would they close it out tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Well, LeBron is easy. Like we said, the quarterback, he stepped up. He's been stepping up where he needs to. And Anthony Davis, who could have easily won Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, like those two guys, going against a Houston team that now, they lost Daniel. Bringing that girl in the room. That kind of that nonsense, and then inconsistent shooting. It's just there. I think that Houston team without a center, they got a lot of things that are just not working in their favor.
Yeah, and they're pretty predictable. D'Antonio,
they're pretty.
That system, driving to the to the basket, kicking out to the wings, that's going to work for so long, especially in the playoffs over a 7 game series, where it's all about matchups and adjustments. It's hard, especially with a small lineup.
It's not a good matchup at all. It's not working in Houston's favor. I think the Clippers will be a much better game. And I think that's what we're going to see. That's what we're waiting for.
Well, that's if the Clippers can close out the Nuggets. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that series goes 7.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I mean, it would be a real shock for them to go to 7. I mean, they got. We know the Nuggets got those guys that could pull off some heroic, incredible games, but that's what it would take, though. That it literally would take, Murray and these guys, Joker, just going to a whole nother level, like all-star level, superstar level every night, to make sure it gets to 7 and they win it. And it's not that they're not capable because they showed it, but that's still a tough thing to do against a team, like the Clippers.
All right.
So,
Wayne, we got 10 minutes now. So tell us about the project you got going down there in Trelawny.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was an educator. That's what I went to school for. So I was a school teacher for many years. So, so education. What I saw in education, especially working in inner city schools, basic school education is the foundation. And I realized once, when as a high school teacher, once kids got to us at the high school level and the foundation was there, it was really, really hard, trying to close that gap for these kids. And that's why I really took a passion in trying to help basic school education, because that foundation is, builds confidence. It sets them up for success at every level. So the school in Calabar, it even though it came about almost by accident, but I don't believe in accidents. I believe God just, destined to me to be there at that time with my cousin Sandy.
Yeah.
But my passion in keeping it going is because I really do believe that basic school education is probably the most important thing in turning around the lives of the young people in any either impoverished or rural or disenfranchised area.
Yes. So tell us about the, how.
Yeah, how it's. Go ahead.
No, you're asking.
No. I wanted to know, but when did it start? When did everything came about, the inception?
It was about 22 years ago. I mentioned that the daycare, and I have to be very careful about my cousin's business. But my cousin, she's an incredible woman, Sandy, Merlene, Miss Campbell. Mm-hmm. At the time, she's going through a very difficult situation with her son, and there's a lot of young women like her who just needed a daycare situation in order to be able to go back to school or go back to work, and because they didn't have access to the grandparents or family to help them. So the project really started as a daycare to try and help young single moms to be able to get their lives back on track.
Yeah.
And then with the headmaster passing away down, just down the hill, we were approached about turning the daycare into a school because the kids were being, put on taxis and being sent to the next parish over for the next closest basic school. And so going home, when I went back to Canada after visiting, it was just fundraising, and I realized it wasn't that hard to get it going.
Yeah.
I had to sell my bike, sell some worldly possessions, but in North America we got so much extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know what to do with it. So I was able to raise some funds and got a lot of people to match whatever I did, and we were able to turn the daycare into a school. And my cousin, to her credit, we got her back into school, and she's she got her teaching certificate. She's just a phenomenal story of a strong black woman for her children, for the community, for the kids in that school. So all she needed was for me to provide her with some resources and support, and the rest really was just her, just running with it and making it go.
So, what I'm trying to get at here now is, so is this a sustainable effort? This is something that is going to be longer term in terms of, and what do you need to advance the program any further?
Okay. Well, COVID year is difficult for everybody. So this year we've had to raise more money than usual. Change out, add extra sinks, we have to create a second playground, in order to social distance better. We had to add a waiting room for, where kids who might be sick. So this year is a challenging year, but typically we've been able to do very well in our fundraising, to the point where our plan was to see if we could adopt some more schools. So for us, we weren't really concerned up until this COVID year about sustaining our own school. It's been almost 22 years.
Yeah.
I think for us, we are trying to find a way of showing people that the effort to adopt other schools is not this massive. You don't need to be Rihanna or some big superstar with millions of dollars. That an average person on a teacher's salary in Canada was able to adopt and take care of a school for 22 years. So you can imagine how many other people could adopt a school and do the same thing.
Yeah. And of course, it's a commendable effort because, as we all, and you rightly said, we keep expecting, the big stars to come and save us when we can do a lot for ourselves in terms of, a community effort. Because, my grandmother used to say, one cocoa full basket. If everybody comes together and just put a little bit, it can amount to a lot. We can actually help a lot of schools move forward and get some of the basic equipment and supplies that they need to provide a solid education for our kids.
Definitely. Is there?
No, I agree. It's not, and I'm just going to say this real quick because I really believe that what you said is so true. And I get tired of people telling me that when I get here, when I have this, but when you look at what you could do just by buying one less coffee, one less pair of shoes, buying, it doesn't take a large effort to be set aside money that could go and help and make a difference. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell you what, Wayne, thanks so much for joining us again. We're out of time, unfortunately. And but certainly we would love to have you back next week to look at the playoff games that once the conference
conference finals, once it's settled, the next week, conference finals.
I appreciate it. I love it. Both we get opportunity to share, two things that I'm very passionate about. So, and hopefully one day I can join you in studio once this COVID clears up.
Definitely will be great.
We're looking forward to that.
All right, Wayne.
All right, Wayne, take it easy.
Pleasure. All right,
and stay safe.
All right, thank you.
Cool. We